Keir Starmer today declared that Labour is the party of national security, as he pledged to build 4 new nuclear submarines and hit the nuclear button if necessary.
I lead this party. I've changed this party. If we're privileged to come in to serve, I will be the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. And I've made my commitment to this absolutely clear. And I've got my whole cabinet, standard cabinet, behind me on this. We have changed the Labour Party. And I know full well that national security, defence of our country is the #1 issue.
So he said his whole cabinet was behind him on that. That's interesting, because critics were quick to point out that no less than 12 members of his shadow cabinet, including his deputy leader Angela Rayner, voted against renewing Trident back in 2016. And despite Starmer's claims this morning, Angela Rayner has tonight told the BBC that she hasn't changed her mind on the UK having nuclear weapons. Well, Kelvin MacKenzie, former editor of The Sun, joins me now. Kelvin, I mean, can Labour be trusted when it comes to nukes?
I don't think so. I mean, she is the deputy leader of the party. How on earth, on something like the nuclear deterrent, the most important single policy of our country, especially with Putin every 5 seconds saying, I'm going to come after you, I'm going to come after you. If the top 2 people of our country don't agree with each other on the single most important policy of our country, I'm not saying this is going to lead to a huge change in the voting pattern of our nation, but isn't that a worry? Isn't that a worry? And what's becoming clear is that Starmer is not in charge of his own ship. After all, we've got this shocking division tonight. I think it's shocking anyway, right? I can remember Michael Foot, right? And he, by the way, had a view about the nuclear deterrent. He didn't want it. So I can also remember, as can your viewers, remember Jeremy Corbyn, who actually was for the campaign of nuclear disarmament, to be honest with you. So there we are. Within the Labour Party, there is a very, very strong view that actually we don't want to have a nuclear deterrent at all. And so, OK, then we go backwards. Only, 2 or 3 days ago, we had the Prime Minister, Prime Minister in waiting, basically saying, actually, we don't want Diane Abbott, actually, to be truthful. And we then had the deputy leader saying, oh, yes, we do. Well, we know how that ended. How can the voters be sure that when the same issue is put to a potential Labour cabinet, that they don't come up with the same answer?
He can keep going on about how it's a changed Labour Party, it's a changed Labour Party, and that's what he said. And then literally a few hours later, the deputy leader completely contradicts him.
Yeah, and goes out of her way, right? She could have said nothing. She could have said stum, right? She could have not made herself available if she knew this big issue. After all, this was the big shout of the day. So she just lies low for the day. You know, nobody knows anything about it, or they can guess at it. But she made it absolutely clear that's where I stand. So she's a rallying point. So what is going to happen now? Right, so on 2 major issues, right, she has contradicted Starmer. What would normally happen, right? And what is going to happen?
Yeah.
Well, my bet is that come July the 5th, when I expect Labour to canter home, she is fired. I can't see it any other way. Or Starmer's fired. What you can't have is 2 captains on the bridge.
This is a window in for people thinking about, OK, how would the functioning of a Labour government work? And if we have had, in the last week, 2 key points of difference between a leader and a deputy leader, that's a problem. Can I just whiz us on to another big issue, which is Labour's private school issues? Now, Keir Starmer's come out today and said if private schools close, it's nothing to do with Labour's plan to hike VAT school fees. Well, at least 2 independent schools have blamed Labour's policy for their decision to shut at the end of this school year. What do you make of it?
Right.
Because, by the way, sorry, just quickly, funny thing now is Guardian readers are now waking up to the idea that their kids' school fees are going to rise and they're not happy.
OK, there's 2 important issues here. His argument, which carries no water at all, is that these schools were going to close anyway, OK? Or are closing anyway, and lots of them have closed under the Tories. That's true. You add 20% to anything, whether it's avocados, your car, or anything you like, you're going to see a kick pushback, right? The other issue is this, and this is the one that hasn't been dealt with, and it actually affects my wider family, is that there are a lot of children with education and learning difficulties who are in private schools because their life, and I know this for certain, right, was tortured when they went to a state school. absolutely tortured because they aren't 100%. They are like 92%, but they're not 100%. Their lives were... The bullying was off the scale. They go to a school which deals with this stuff, but it costs money, OK? The boarding aspect costs money. What is going to happen to them? Starmer, tell me, what is going to happen to my wider family? It is an absolute disgrace, this. And it is going to affect not 500, not 1,000. This could affect almost 50,000 of these places, right?
And that your wider... Just very quickly, because the press time, but that member of your wider family, if this came in, would they have been out of that private school, do you think? Possibly. Because Labour say there's a plan for these people.
OK, well, I don't know. Well, why don't they tell us what the damn plan is? They make up this stuff as they go along. They can't even defend our nation with a nuclear deterrent. What hope have we got that children who have got education and learning and are in private establishments, that they're going to carry on being funded?
All right, Kelvin, thank you very, very much. Impassioned stuff there. It's Kelvin MacKenzie, the former editor of The Sun. Coming